Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CoinNewsExtra panel discussion. So today is the episode 9 of our panel discussion. So today we'll be talking about a very interesting topic and something that we really know that Africa needs. We are talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency education in Africa, the way forward. So we have some innovators joining us from different areas. So we have with us is Collins Nabugu. Collins Nabugu is a special envoy, State of Africa diaspora. Collins, you are welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, you are welcome. Thank you. We have next joining us is Laswet Savet. Laswet is the co-founder of Zimbo Cash. Laswet, you are welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Okay. We have next joining us is Africanus Adeswe. Africanus is the president of African Blockchain University. Africanus, you are welcome. Okay. So next is the only lady joining us today on the panel discussion. We have Surveyor Faith Titus. She is the founder of eWeight Atlantic. Faith, you are welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
Okay, we have been able to do the introduction. So I am the moderator, Lee, the CEO of CoinNewsExtra. So today, moving straight to the topic, we are talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency education, knowing very well what is happening in the ecosystem. People, because of lack of proper education, some people are falling for scam and some other Ponzi and fraudulent schemes. So we want to go straight to this topic. How do we get a proper blockchain and crypto education in Africa? So Fetitus, how do you think we can get a proper education of blockchain and cryptocurrency, knowing very well that your platform, eWeight Atlantic, is about education?
Thank you very much for that question. Going straight to that question, I think, we are actually on a global wave, of demand for blockchain and cryptocurrency education and certifications, whether Africa, especially at the government level and learning institutions, recognizes the need and is responding to these needs by offering taught classes and, on blockchain and cryptocurrency. It's something that, leaves every one of us in doubt. For me, I've been into this industry, given to my past experiences, when it has to do with scams, people getting victimized from, leveraging Ponzi schemes, in the bid of thinking that is actually the blockchain technology, they are leveraging as a result of finding financial inclusion or economic inclusion. And looking around, we find out that from statistics, there are over 50 universities, in the world that are offering blockchain and cryptocurrency education. And over here in Africa continent, you find a few of them. And the people you find offering blockchain education are people, are like minds, like you and I, who are trying to offer this opportunity to our people. And so they can be a better people. So going forward, I would say that universities, should be able to inculcate blockchain education and cryptocurrency into their curriculum activities, such that, students can actually learn, the potentials or the underpinning values, that the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency offers. Being the fact that blockchain is a chronological records of events.
Last, what can you say about it? How do we get proper blockchain and cryptocurrency education in Africa? What can you say about it, last word?
Well, I think the starting point has to be identifying the barriers to blockchain adoption in Africa. As we are standing, we do have a few countries really that where blockchain and its applications are being used in Africa. We have the likes of Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Mauritius, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. And you have other countries at a smaller scale like Tunisia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and etc. But what you see is that of all these countries, you have a few countries that are progressive. Then you have others that are indifferent. Then you have countries like Zimbabwe, Namibia, that have banned and prohibited blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So we have to look at it from that level. What is preventing our countries from adopting or at least acknowledging the benefits that comes with blockchain technology? And from then, it boils down to political will, because we can say, yes, let's have our universities teach blockchain technology and its applications. But most of our universities in our African countries are state-owned. So as long as the government is unwilling to come to the party, it will be difficult to have blockchain technology being taught in state schools, in state colleges, state universities, of which these are amongst the majority. So I think we need to start at that level to say those in government, the policymakers, they need to be taught so that they appreciate the advantages that come with the blockchain technology, because the role of the government is to make way for innovation, but as well protect citizens from being taken advantage of by unscrupulous people who will use this technology to take advantage of people unethically. So when you have countries like Mauritius, for example, regional leader, they have a regulatory sandbox for fintech companies that also where cryptocurrency companies have come into play. And you have countries that are progressive like South Africa, Nigeria, and a few others, where even though we don't have laws, it's not prohibited. You actually do have
last word, I have to cut you short. Yeah, we are coming to the government aspect of it. So, Collins, what can you say about it? Collins, are you with us?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just following up on everyone.
Okay.
Yes, it's very important to have that blockchain technology as a prerequisite for digital transformation to properly be actualized in Africa. I personally, I am operating in the ed tech and education technology space where, I designed an academy, an institute called the Cyber Future Academy. And in that design, I realized how important it is, for fintech, basically, and then blockchain to be a core, subject in that academy. So we created the Institute of Blockchain Technology, where we make sure that every student, every young person that passes through the academy gets an introduction, at least, and in the least, introduction to blockchain. Um, if you look at the digital divide right now, there's deficit in transactions. China is way ahead of everyone, and then you look at the size of the market, the Chinese market, the Brazilian market, and these are markets where blockchain is actually almost passed into law. Some days ago, I heard that China is even passing into law a policy that would allow citizens to inherit to acquire inheritance from their maybe their parents or fathers through cryptocurrency, through Bitcoin. That is to validate the relevance and the importance of cryptocurrency in a present society. We know in Africa we are having flagship projects smart cities, like we hear the Acoin crypto city. The Acoin crypto city, and how it will be powered or driven by the Acoin, which is a form of cryptocurrency, specifically to be used in that city. And the size of this smart city is quite large. Also, we hear about the Wakanda smart city coming in South Africa, and how they also want to utilize the Africoin and all of this. So with all the rapid and exponential development and transformation going on in that space, in the fintech space, especially as it pertains to Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, I think that it should be a basic requirement for anyone going into ICT in the universities or academy right now, to have a basic knowledge or understanding of cryptocurrency.
Okay, that's
And
very
government can also follow suit by adopting policies that encourage training, retraining, and adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as major part of the fintech sector of the economy.
okay. Thank you very much. That's very, very nice and interesting. Africanus, what can you say about this?
On civil society, because the problem with governments is that they see these technologies as a way to lose control of the system. They've monopolized the making of money for a long time, and these are technologies that are going to take away their power to be able to create money from thin air. So yes, universities, but most of our universities are in the pockets of government. So from the civil society point of view, I think initiatives like what we've seen in the blockchain community in Africa is very interesting. Like there are institutions and initiatives from individuals trying to scale blockchain education. I think these are the things we need to encourage. We need to create stuff like, you're a media outlet. CoinNewsExtra could create things like award ceremonies around Africa for Africans in the ecosystem to honor people pushing education, people pushing adoption, people with innovative projects. We need to focus on making sure that this comes from people who are not in government, so that at the end of the day, we will be able to reach a lot of people with blockchain technologies, and then try to help them understand it and how to, use it to kind of change their life, their society, and so on and so forth. You look at universities, for instance, and if it is not countries like Nigeria, for I am Guinean. I live in Mauritius. Since 2016, I've been traveling through Africa, promoting blockchain technologies and writing about it communities. When I was in Ghana, I made a lot of effort trying to, work with universities, and most of my efforts were blocked. I used to run a public policy think tank, and one of our flagship programs was the Liberty and Entrepreneurship Camp, and the whole day was actually set aside for blockchain technologies. And you realize that the action plan for young people coming to these camps was like, go back to your colleges, start blockchain clubs, and they were always blocked by university authorities. So I strongly believe that the drive should come from civil society organizations, and it is encouraging to see how individuals in the ecosystem in Africa are starting organizations to start education in Rwanda, in Nigeria, in Kenya, and so forth.
Africanus, hello. I have to cut you short so that we'll move to another point. So you guys made contributions about government participation, like introducing some blockchain courses in our higher institutions. So we are looking at some of these government officials. They don't know much about the blockchain. Don't you think the regulators should be educated first? They are the first people to educate. So Collins, before we go to that topic, Titus, you want to make a contribution before we move to that particular topic?
Yes, sorry for what happened. Yeah, so I was actually saying that knowing the importance of blockchain technology, globally, for me, myself, that has actually left me no choice, than to establish a platform called eWorld Atlantic, which is a blockchain and cryptocurrency education center, that aims to educate, breed skills and maximize wealth for the people of multicultural background to gain financial inclusion through periodic trainings, conferences, and seminars. And I don't just do this at this level. I also leverage the Blockchain Nigerian user group, which is founded by Mr. Chuta Chimeze. And because we want people, to leverage the technology, we want people to be a better people using blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, and to be able to avoid falling into scams. We have been able to, program a program, we've been able to draw up a program in partnership with IBM Nigeria, and that program is called Blockchain Dev 1000. And because our goals is to see how we can, train over 1,000 people, in the nearest future on blockchain technology and different emerging technologies. And I can tell you that as we speak right now, we have over 500 people that have registered in that platform. So bringing programs like this will actually help to eradicate, most of the hypes that comes into the technology. Because when you go on the streets of Africa, you find out that people have a misconception of this technology. They feel that it is scam, it is Ponzi. So how can we even let the government know that the technology we're talking about is not scam? It's something that have actually come to better Africa as a continent.
Faith, I have to cut it short so that we'll move to the next topic. Collins, what can you say about educating the regulators first about this ecosystem?
It's pretty simple. It's to articulate and identify the gains or the benefits or relevance of this technology. It's way to go because you're talking about democratizing the financial sector and making it very transparent and that makes things more efficient. So it behoves on practitioners in the industry, stakeholders. Like I already pointed out what Acorn it's about doing, it's already doing with the Acoin. A couple of people like the panelists here also, the brother who's been doing this since 2016. I haven't been involved in, cryptocurrency or, in the fintech generally that long. But as soon as I got a little bit of knowledge about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the concept of democratizing that process that was left in the hands of just the banks, and that monopoly, it's what has brought about corruption, negativity and mistrust in the system, because the banks are in the full control of the government, of administrations. So democratizing it is the best, and which is what blockchain and cryptocurrency present. So more practitioners need to engage more, need to advocate for more processes or more procedures, even public procedures, to be carried out via the blockchain technology. And the more the utilization and that's like a litmus test. And when that is certified, that will encourage the government. Like I was just reading something about India, where some days ago, where they said that India has significantly increased their cryptocurrency market because the government started to adopt some of their processes, to replace some of the processes, through cryptocurrency, to replace, the regular rupee, which it's very unstable, because the government can weigh, when you use both, utilize both, you can weigh the fact that local currencies most times on the international scale are very unstable, because they are dependent on a lot of variables. Oil prices go up, they go down, but when you're trading on, on that secure, crypto, the difference is clear. And so these are the gains that the stakeholders need to, bring out to policymakers. I engage policymakers once in a while, and it's very interesting that even in Nigeria, some of the government people are already into cryptocurrency. I was talking to a government person here in Nigeria, in fact, in Abuja, the government house, and he was already showing me. If I could share my screen now, you'll be surprised. This is a politician in Nigeria already, mining Bitcoin and cryptos, and even setting up his own. It's called Pay Afrique. So he too is advocating for the government to adopt his platform, to use it to pay maybe pensioners or police service or something. And I'm like advising, I'm playing advisory for his company. You see, so if more people get involved and advocate for processes, first thing is, let us try this with processes, and what processes are integratable into this blockchain technology is what will determine, a wider adoption of this technology.
Okay,
That's
thank you, Collins. Africanus, what can you say about it? Educating the regulators, the government officials about this ecosystem.
For me, I think the best way to go about it is proof of concepts. We need to build projects that will prove to the general public, that will influence policies, that will convince the general public that, of course, this thing works. And we need to push policymakers to go toward that direction. You can't just go to these men and say, come on, let's digitalize the Naira. I was at the first ever blockchain users of Nigeria conference, the Nigeria Blockchain Summit in 2017. I was a speaker, and one thing, I enjoyed that conference so much because the deputy governor of the Nigeria Central Bank was like, we can't stop this technology. All we can do is to kind of formulate policies around it. I think that is the first time I heard about a politician in Africa saying that let's build policies around this technology. And I not even in South Africa, I've not heard from there. I was living in Zimbabwe. I started an exchange, and a couple of months, the government outlawed exchanges. And though cryptocurrencies are not outlawed in Zimbabwe, exchanges are outlawed. So how are you going to get access to cryptocurrencies where the medium of buying and selling it is banned? And banks have been ordered not to sort of give bank accounts to exchanges. So the point is,
I see that those things, those laws, are they still in place so that we will be able to correct something?
They are still in place. I mean, I've got hint. Interestingly, I'm in Zimbabwe at the moment. I was in South Africa for the Blockchain Africa conference in March, and I was caught in lockdown, and I was trying to Mauritius lockdown, so I was trying to get to my native my native Ghana. So I took a bus to Harare, trying to fly to Ghana, and it didn't work. So I've been held here since May 23rd, and I've been talking to some people in authority, and they are like, we want to actually reverse the ban. But then again, who can trust government? So the point is, if those of us who believe in this technology can build proof of concepts. I met some guys here in Harare. They have a company called the Africa Blockchain Solution, and they've almost concluded with government to build line title system for them, and also provide a DApp that they can use to detect fake medicines in the system here. These are some of the things we can use to convince them that, look, embrace this technology. Let's take it to the next level. Let's make it benefit our people. Other than that, I think they are afraid. My brother was mentioning Mauritius. I live in Mauritius, and it's all about fintech, nothing about cryptocurrencies. There's no exchange there. The authorities are afraid of cryptocurrencies. They are afraid of losing control of the monetary system. How are they going to create more money to finance their political ambitions, to fatten on it like gluteins? We can't get there with government. We need to push government to some corner so that they will say that, fine, we need to join these people. Or you see one thing about politicians.
I understand what you are saying, Afrikaners. What you are saying. How do we educate these people?
We are in the system already. Let's create projects, proof of concepts. Like I was talking about these guys in Harare, creating a project that can be used to detect fake medicines in the system. These are some of the things that can convince the policymakers to come on board. But you can educate men who are afraid of losing power, who are afraid of losing control. They are doing all these bans because they are afraid or they are ignorant. So let's prove to them we understand it. We are in the ecosystem. We've organized enough conferences. It is time to organize events that will showcase projects we have built and show it to the world, show it to our community, show it to our governments, show it to influencers.
Okay, I have to cut you short there. Titus, what's your take on that, educating the regulators and government officials?
Regulatory officials is something that we have been doing since 2016 over here in Nigeria. You know, in 2016, it was very difficult for people to go to the traditional media houses to call a blockchain or to talk about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. You dare not mention Bitcoin, you would be arrested by NDIC, you know. And as a result of organizing conferences and inviting government officials to our conferences, we've been able to, you know, water down their mind, to let them know that what they are scared of is not what it is, that this technology actually, you know, offers a better way via which, for example, informations or data are being, you know, perceived, managed, and shared. And again, it also offers a better way of how money can be transacted. Take for example, in Africa, we already have the issue of cross-border payment. So letting them know that we can use this technology, to facilitate our method of financial transactions from country to country, teaching them how it's being done. That would also, make them to come into having the mind of, regulating or teaching people more about this technology. Because of what we have been doing, we've been able to engage Security Exchange Commission of Nigeria, NICDA, NDIC, and we have also gone to the level of educating some members of CBN in Nigeria. And I can tell you that because of this, the government officials or the regulatory agency in Nigeria have been able to, draft a committee or to set up a committee that is going to draft the blockchain and cryptocurrency operational framework, to be able to safeguard both operators and investors. As I speak to you now, that committee is actually working, and there are a lot of people. I think the committee and the framework also has been launched, and they are actually demanding for contributions from people so they can be able to have a holistic document or policy that will guide the operations of blockchain and cryptocurrency in Nigeria. So I think that by so doing, engaging government officials and sometimes going to their offices to educate them, because we had one section that we had to go to Abuja, and we had people from USID, coming from UK and different parts of the country, where we have to go and educate these people, let them know the benefit and the importance of leveraging this technology. And that is how most of these government officials have actually come into the technology we're talking about today. So it's about going.
I have to cut it short. Sorry, I have to cut it short. Last words, what can you say? What's your contribution to that?
Yes, I think as has been spoken, education is key. Education is a driver for the adoption of blockchain en masse in Africa. But the question is, how do we educate? We do have space for classroom education. You have your colleges, your institutions that have these modules and programs that then invite people to come, and people are taught about blockchain and really dispel the many misconceptions that are there. Because most people in Africa, when you say blockchain, they just think cryptocurrency. And most people are not aware of the numerous other applications that are there that can be put on top of the blockchain technology and help our African economies. So all that needs to be highlighted through these educational programs. As well, we need to, I agree with what my brother said earlier. It's high time, as people who are in the ecosystem, profile the use cases that are already happening on the African continent. When we profile those, it becomes clear to people that it's not just cryptocurrency. There are other instances where blockchain technology can be used. As we also need to have, we have blockchain activists. They need to come in, apply pressure to these guys in government, the policymakers, to say apply enough pressure to force them to adopt policies that create a conducive environment for blockchain projects to proliferate in Africa. And there's also the avenue to, we know that Africa depends on international financial help and aid. And from those international financial institutions and non-governmental organizations that are international, some of them are already adopting blockchain technology in terms of trying to get rid of corruption. So we can convince the guys who are providing aid to insist on African governments that are receiving this aid to adopt the technology, so that we can have this aid when it comes in. You get rid of the many middlemen, and it can be tracked, and aid really gets to where it's supposed to be. Okay. So those are various means that I think we can use.
Okay. Yeah. So what we are doing, part of the blockchain, is so that Africa will depend on its own and not depend on any aid. And this is what we believe blockchain and cryptocurrency can help us to do. So we all here are head of parastatals and companies. So we are talking about educating Africans about blockchain and cryptocurrency. The other things we are doing with our organizations or individually to make this happen in our different countries. Last word, there are things you are doing with your organization or your company to educate the people about blockchain.
Definitely. Our company, Zimbo Cash, is basically creating a national cryptocurrency for Zimbabwe. And we have been listed on one of the international exchanges, Biram Global. We are excited about that. They are excited and believe in our project, and we do as well. What we are doing now in Zimbabwe, before the lockdown, we have gone around Zimbabwe doing educational workshops, educating people about blockchain, about cryptocurrency. And we have been on various media as well, interviews, just talking about cryptocurrency, its adoption, and etc. And we have also engaged the government and the central bank. Those engagements are continuing. But our main focus is on the ordinary men and women on the street. That's where our main focus is, because we want to create an ecosystem in Zimbabwe whereby people can use our token in day-to-day trade. So that's where our main focus is. Okay. We go around Zimbabwe and educate people.
Okay, thank you. Africanus, what are you doing with your organizations to educate people about blockchain in the African ecosystem?
Research and Advocacy Institute. And what we are doing is we are trying to create a lot of proof of concepts to convince civil society and governments about the need to adopt blockchain technologies. And we are also trying to work with various institutions to do various research in public sectors to see how blockchain can be leveraged to solve problems. And then there's the education sector that tries to educate young people about how they can take advantage of blockchain technologies. If you've been following our work, recently we just launched an initiative called the Blockchain 101 Excellence Course, which is a collaboration between us and Paxful, and then the Hash Blockchain, to educate 6,500 African young people about just the basics. Just understand the technology, the basics, so that if you are more interested, you can take it to the next level. Understand what this technology is and what it is not. So in a nutshell, we are focusing on trying to change people's perception about blockchain technologies. And our focus is like, let's say 20% for cryptocurrencies, 80% for blockchain, because blockchain is way bigger, because blockchain is the underlying technology. Cryptocurrency is just a use case, but just that is the first ever use case. So for us, we want to see how we can get more civil society institutions, like when Faith earlier said, we want to see how we can work with private universities, not public universities. That has been a challenge for us. Private universities and work on proof of concepts, try to implement it and convince people out there that this technology works. This is how it is. This is how we can use it to change a lot of things in Africa. For instance, we are working with the Africa Leadership University in Mauritius to create a voting app on cell phones for their campus. And then if these young people get used to these things, they are going to be the advocates of such technology out there when they are no more in college, but they are out there working or part of a government agency to convince their countries that, look, if we can curb post-election violence, let's go for these kind of modern technologies.
Okay,
that creates
thank you.
transparency.
African, Miss, I have to cut you short. Collins, what's your take on that?
Thank you. You know, the foundation is education. Educating the people on the trends and even on future trends. Now, you see, some of us were already talking about the different trends for 2020. And even at some point, I was making predictions. I said remote work is going to be very prominent in 2020. A lot of people didn't see how that would work, but I told them, when you are talking about the fourth industrial revolution, you have to place IoT on, in a top position, which is Internet of Things and connected devices. So the fact that the fourth industrial revolution is driven mostly by IoT, it means that everything that has a bearing on that would thrive, and the fact that blockchain has a lot of benefit from the aspects of industrial revolution. It's very viable. It's scalable. It's a technology that can thrive in every
Okay,
field,
Collins,
every sector.
what are you doing to educate the people, the masses, create a blockchain and cryptocurrency awareness around you?
Yeah. Okay, like I mentioned before about the Cyber Future Academy, which is an institution that I designed, also has blockchain technology as a prerequisite. Actually, it's basic. Every student that goes through that institution into the academy must learn this. So that's a way of encouraging more tech people, to have a knowledge and interest and passion in blockchain technology.
Okay, thank you very much. Titus, what are you doing to get people educated about blockchain? What is your organization doing?
Well, at eWest Atlantic, we've been able to affiliate ourselves with some professional bodies that delivers thoughts on professional models on blockchain and cryptocurrency, to help financial services and business professionals, entrepreneurs, government officials, and public administrators, and again, students, to better understand not just the technical foundation of blockchain and cryptocurrency, but first, the underlying concept of cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and how it will likely interact with the existing traditional business operations, and how it will complement those existing traditional business operations, how money and financial systems and can be optimized, and what opportunities that are existing or that does exist for innovations, especially in the digital assets and governance. And again, we have actually looked at Africa, not having a good or a solid database, because sometimes you find out that the kind of information that you get from the African continent are not verifiable. So that blockchain technology offers that opportunity to have data integrity it also have that opportunity to, share data transparently. So we are actually looking at, developing an ecosystem, where institutions, governments, and business enterprises can come and, make researches of informations for decision-making purposes, and you have people in the ecosystem that would provide these informations, and you also have validators that will validate these informations. And at the end of the day, these records are being, integrated into the blockchain, such that anybody anywhere that is coming into Africa or any country, to ask about business opportunities or how to cite businesses or how to, come into Africa, any blockchain solution or business solution, they can find credible data, that can help them to make better business decisions in future. So that would actually, help a lot of people to also create jobs. Take, for example, people who will be working in the ecosystem has to be incentivized in that platform, so it's a way of generating revenue for people. Take, for example, we are going through week9, and after now, a lot of people are going to be displaced from their job. A lot of students will be graduating, they may not find jobs. So with the platform being in place, people can actually come into that platform and be generating data, for institutions, and will be getting paid, just
thank you very
to
much.
sustain their life.
Okay, thank you very much, Faith. So finally, before we draw the curtain, just 1 minute. How do we see the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency with proper education in Africa? Africanus, what's your take? Just in 1 minute.
I think the technology has got a huge future on this continent. All we need to do is to keep pushing. I love Zimbo Cash. I love it so much because if you ever spend time in Zimbabwe, you know how people struggle in terms of money. I once went to, I think about a month ago, I once went to the Western Union to pick some fund, and I got there at 7:10 a.m. and I was number 172. So we just need to keep pushing, creating projects, and the education we've been pursuing to target different set of people.
Okay.
The technology has got a few features on this continent.
Okay, thank you very much. Faith, that is back to you. How do you see the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency with proper education?
For me, I know that blockchain technology is the future for especially financial institutions and how payments are being done. And I believe that it is born for Africa, because if you look around, you find out that there are a lot of people who cannot, acquire 3 square meals a day. And by leveraging blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, most of them have been able to find a future. They've been able to, find a better way to transact within the ecosystem, creating jobs for institutional investors that are already coming into Africa, as a way of having a livelihood. So, and that a lot of people are looking into Africa as a target market, for them to, like Africa is under, I would say, developed when it comes to emerging technology. So there are a lot of opportunities here. So looking at those opportunities have actually created a better future for, Africans that are willing to leverage the technology.
Okay,
and I myself actually benefited from it as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Collins, what's your take? How do you see the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency with proper education in Africa?
Yes, I think that that's the way to go. You know, everyone who is in the digital divide right now knows that blockchain is the way to go, right? And also in Africa, you know that we are expecting so much revolution in this decade. You know, because now this decade is witnessing a lot of one of the panelists rightly said, cross-border activities and trade. That all of that will be limited by we've seen what the virus is doing now. We have already entered the fourth industrial revolution, and with this virus, a lot of things, a lot of dynamics are emerging where physical people wouldn't have to necessarily be in the same physical places. Most of the other means of transactions will become traditional, and everyone wants to go, you know, the way of crypto. I mean, of blockchain technology. Also, you see the diaspora remittances back to Africa. That has been a very major, um, you know, concern in the fintech sector, and the reason Western Union remittances as Western Union, MoneyGram, all these guys have been thriving is because there wasn't none of these technologies before now. So with the diaspora getting involved and trying to ship their money back to the continent, you will see the future, and you will see that cryptocurrency is actually the future, you know, of remittances and of the financial industry. So
Okay.
I see a lot of credence being lent to the blockchain technology as a very strong sector, and one of the one of it will also be in agriculture. All right, and so yes, Nigeria has a large market. For instance, Africa has a large market, and we also see this July we are expecting the launch of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which really encourage a lot more mobility in terms of cross-border activities, intra-Africa trade, and all of this would require more avenues, more avenues of remittances and transactions, which the blockchain technology can comfortably fill those need
Okay, thank
cases.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Last words, what's your take? Hello?
Yes, I will say that Africa is ripe for blockchain technologies adoption. In fact, we are desperate for it. It's just that most people are not aware, and this is where education comes in. You just need to look at the mobile phone usages that grew from less than 3% to more than 80% in a decade. Look at migrant work in Africa within the country and without, and look at the percentages of unbanked people. We need financial inclusion and all that. Even the earlier panelist was talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area. We're talking about integration that will come with linkages. And the blockchain technology now comes in to get rid of all the frictions that are there in the market. So Africa actually has the potential to be a leader in blockchain technologies. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep educating.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, last word, for joining us on today's episode of CoinNewsExtra panel discussion.
You're welcome. It was pleasant to be part of the team.
Okay, thank you, Faith Titus, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. Nice to meet you.
Okay, thank you, Africanus, for joining us on today's edition.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Collins, thank you for joining us on today's panel discussion.
Thank you so much. It was really great. Thanks, everyone. you guys are really awesome. I mean, this kind of conversation should really continue, and we look forward to having more conversation on maybe on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, or something. We also on down this side of Africa, where we are creating some solutions for inclusion, where people like yourself can be part of the ecosystem, get connected, and meet up with the other people, so we can grow this community and grow an ecosystem that would actually impact people on the continent. Africa is the future, and we don't have to just be there doing what we have to do alone. We all have to come together, unite. Look what's going on in America right now. It's a wake-up call. It's a clarion call on all of us to think home, to think what we can do to develop our continent. This is what I represent, for the state of African diaspora, and we encourage everyone to think home, to think Africa. That's very important. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you very much.